was challenged by Rex, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Rex T-Gun, to make a, like, missile thing, to make a missile system that would curve in a different direction, because I was explaining that I had recently learned how to use Bezier Curves. But first things first, we have to actually make the game before we can add all these fancy elements in, such as strange, unnecessary curves. So I'll just go to my visual workspace, and I've already set up some notes for me to go by while I'm doing this video. I have some notes right here so that I can just make this part as quick and painless as possible, because I don't like spending too long on movement. So I'm just going to start with messing around with linear interpolation. So in the start, I want to say that there is a public. I've been using not Visual Studio, Game Maker for too long. Public float max speed, and I'm going to also say that on start, say public float max rotate speed, and on start I'm going to say that I'm sorry that my thoughts are all over the place. Public float t equals, no, just public float t, say t equals 0. I could probably initialize that in here, couldn't I? I don't know. It's not the best system. I've been using Game Maker for too long. I haven't actually used C# in a while, but I prefer C# for some things. Actually, almost everything I prefer C# for. So I'm going to start by saying that our speed, I should probably also say public float speed equals 0, because I might want to be able to access this from other classes later on. So I can start saying by our speed equals t times max speed. And what is t? We're going to say that oh wait, that goes into input.w. Oops. Well, not actually, it seems more efficient there. So if input dot any, or I think it's get key w key code dot w, I want to say, wow, that was a mistype among mistypes. Say that, I want to say that, oh, t plus equals 1 over 48 if t greater than or equal to 1, and I want you to say that t equals 1. Alright, so now if you're not pressing it, then I want you to say t minus equals 1 over 48 if t less than or equal to 0, then t equals 0. Alright, so let me just save this, apply it to the player and see if it works. Might actually be clearer if I make the player start outside. Oh, duh. It might actually help if I assign the max speed to be something other than 0. So I'm going to set the max speed to be something like 7. Don't actually know if I'm moving at all. This is... Oh wait, it's because I assigned t to a float and forgot to say that t plus equals 1 over 48f, 1 over 48f. No, it's legitimately just not working. Okay. And I'm not getting any errors, so this is my fault once again. Oh. I forgot to actually move the player. Okay. So transform dot translate vector 3.4 times speed. There are inconsistent line endings. And now it just takes straight off. Okay. Maybe not 7, maybe 3. Now, let's see if t is greater than or equal to 1. I can just say that right there. You can say if input dot get key for key code dot a. I want you to say that I want you to rotate. I want to rotate, so it's transform dot rotate vector 3 dot Euler angles. Actually, see what I wrote down. All right, so you're rotating vector negative vector 3. Had to think about where. Dot right times max rotate speed times t. And then just want to copy this and paste it for d because I'm far too lazy. So it's going to be positive vector 3 dot right and max rotate speed times t. So that'll probably look a lot better, hopefully. And just copy this entire script right here. Take that out of there and put that in here. There we go. Then it should work like, hopefully it works nicely. Hopefully I'm not just like wasting my time here. I'm gonna keep an eye on this. So I should be able to, yeah, then... Oh! Wrong. A bit of the wrong, okay, a bit of the wrong axis that I was rotating on. It needs to be up. And a bunch of people that use Unity probably just shouted at me to use up, not right. Wish it was based on yaw pitch roll. That would be much easier. Then again, I probably still wouldn't remember it. So, don't really have much of an excuse there. Now, I also noticed another thing, which is that I can just like rotate infinitely tight circles. So, now, I don't really want to make heat-seeking missiles because I don't want them to be exactly perfect. But I can make heat-seeking missiles, and I'm probably going to do that to begin with. But they don't really look natural because they'll go towards the target even if it's behind you. Now, I could probably use dot product or something to get that out of the way, but to begin with, I'm just going to make it just go towards the enemy and show you what I mean. So I'm going to create a new probably just going to make it a capsule. Name it to missile, and go back to assets, C# scripts, and I already have one for missile behavior. That being said, I'm going to use a 3-point curve. Then I might try out a 4-point curve also. That's why I have that in here. So I'm going to say public float 0.1, public float 0.2. Now, the reason I have 0.1 and 0.2 and not 0.3 is because 0.3 will be an interpolation between 0.1 and 0.2, which means I'll have it going in like, oh wow, that's completely wrong. Public object, game object, and public game object 0.2, and I'm going to have it in the center and kind of outside the side a bit from 0.1 and 0.2. So I'll show you what I mean in a bit. Or actually, right now. Oh, I'm so awkward. So I want to say that 0.2, so it's going to be vector. Actually, I'm going to do it in floats because it's going to look very awful if I make it in one consecutive line. I don't like doing that because it makes it very long. Might be more efficient, but I don't know. Float point to x equals, or float middle x equals 0.1 dot transform dot position. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and change this to vector 3. Vector 3 p1 equals 0.1 dot transform dot position, and vector 3 p2 equals 0.2 dot transform dot position. Alright, now I want to say that vector 3 p3 equals, so now I'm going to say that vector p3 equals new vector 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and just like make this like this so that I can just press enter. And I know that I said that I was going to make this in 3 different variables, but I don't really want to. Vector 3 p1 dot x plus p2 dot x all over 2, and then y is going to be the thing which I change, and then I'm going to put these all in parentheses, and I'm going to add maybe 5 or 6, and 6 works also. p1.z minus p2.z, or p1.z plus p2.z, and I'm going to make them all over 2, so that makes it look nice in the middle, slightly risen. And I'm going to go ahead and just copy this formula because I don't really want, I'm not keen on typing it all over again. So I'm going to say vector 3 new lock equals. Alright, so you'll notice that it doesn't actually know what these are. So the reason that it doesn't know what these are is because I haven't defined t as anything yet. So I'm going to go up here and say public, or not public, just float t equals 0. I'm going to separate these a bit. Alright, so I'm going to say that at the end I'm going to say that t plus equals, and I'm just going to make this easier, make another public game out, public float amount, and this is going to represent the amount of segments that there are on the Bezier curve. T plus equals 1 over amount. Oh wait, if t greater than or equal to 1, then I'm just going to say t equals 1. Alright. Now, new location. I'm going to say that the new location is going to be 1 minus t. Why is that not? One minus t times 2 times 0.1 is just going to be p1 plus 2 times 1 minus t times t times p3 and p2 are switched times t, or sorry, plus math.pow t2 times 0.3 is going to be p2. Alright, so that's going to hopefully work. It's going to hopefully move it along a kind of curved line, or a curved line, that's an oxymoron. A curve that's going to eventually take it to the final destination. So I'm going to say that transform dot position equals new lock. Alright, so this is kind of done, except that once it's in and it does what it needs to do, it's just going to go away. So missile, I'm going to move the missile a long ways away. And I'm going to take the missile inspector, put missile behavior on it, and in missile behavior I'm going to say 0.1, I'm going to be player, and then 0.2 is going to be target. The amount is going to be 32. Where is my player here? Now, this is going to move towards it very slowly, but if I start it, you're going to notice that it bugs out. Okay, so yep, it works. Now what I'm wondering is, what if it's going on and you move? Nope, still goes through. And it still goes through fairly accurately. Alright, so I think that's going to be all for today. I've kind of set up the basis for everything, and I've set up a lot of what's going to be happening, and it's kind of a pretty cool system, but I don't really like how this is happening. I don't really like the path that it's taking. I just came back really quick to let you know that I looked at some of my old code, switched out my current code some, and so this is the code that I currently have, and it does work for rotation within this game. So it was just my misunderstanding of 3D math, and it was just my misunderstanding of 3D math and Unity that led to this. So, yep, it works, but it throws an error. I'm going to investigate that sometime. I don't know. Anyways, cheerio.